Greetings everyone, this is Brandon here with another video for the Fralix Arms channel. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day, and if you enjoy the videos and you like the channel, please give me a big old thumbs up, smash that like button, and smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really do appreciate that. So today, this video that I'm making is going to be very special because I actually got a request from a subscriber. A subscriber sent in a firearm for me to do a review on, and I'm really excited about that because, especially considering how small the channel is, that's really cool. That's really awesome. Before we get the video kicked off, I just want to say, David, thank you for being so cool. I really do appreciate it. So let's get right into it. And I do want to say that I do not know a whole heck of a lot about this firearm, but I will tell you what I know and I'll give my honest opinion about it. So, without further ado, I have here, it's a 1911 style firearm, and it is made by, and I may butcher this name, Bonifacio. I'm sure I butchered that. I'm 100% sure I butchered that. But it's it's a Star model Super. Bonifacio Echeverria. I do apologize for that pronunciation. But it's a Spanish gun. It actually says here on the frame Spain, which is kind of cool. And from what I understand, the company started making these weapons in the early 1900s. But this one is a Model Y, and they have a list online that you can look at, and that means that this one was actually manufactured in 1953. And from the research I did, that this company started making weapons back in, I believe, 1914. I'm not 100% sure on that. The actual company started in about 1905 though, so I think that they started making this particular model a little bit later, more towards 1919. I think is when they had the first rendition of this model, and they made them for many years. And so they have all different types of models, and you can check and see which model yours is if you look on the left hand side of the gun. When you're holding it, you look on the left hand side, and there are three little characters right above the trigger guard, and I don't know what a couple of the characters are, but there is the engraving of the letter Y. So that means that this one was made in 1953, which is really cool. But a lot of people mistake this number right here. It's matching numbers. The upper and lower receiver have matching numbers, but they mistake this number for the serial number of the firearm, and that's not the serial number. That is the number that indicates, I want to say that is the property number, if I remember reading about that correctly. It's who issued it, whether it was their military or the naval branch of the Spanish military. So that's what that is. If you have one of these, the actual serial number, which I'm not going to show you because this is not my firearm, but the actual serial number is on the butt, right behind where the magazine would release. So right behind where the magazine is, that's the serial number. And it also tells you the model, and this is the Model Super, which is kind of cool. So let's see, what else do I know about it? Not a lot. Like I said, I've only had it for a few days, well, probably about a week now actually, and I've been tinkering with it, playing with it. I didn't take it apart. I didn't want to take it apart because it is such an old firearm. I was going to do like a full strip and clean it after I shot it, but I was kind of afraid to, honestly. So I didn't want to take it apart and accidentally break something or lose something, because this ain't a Glock. This isn't something where I can just go get some new parts for it. So it's a Spanish 1911 in its most basic form, and it is super nice. No pun intended. Okay, maybe a little pun. So it let's see, what else can I tell you about it? It's got rear serrations. which are really nice. It's a right-handed gun. There's no ambi controls. It's a double action hammer fire, uh, manual safety. It's got the safety right there, and it's on safe, and now it's on fire, and it is empty. Promise, very empty. So I'm going to drop the magazine, and it's extremely smooth. So when you rack the slide back, it cocks it into its second stage. So let's check out the trigger. It doesn't have the holes drilled through it or any kind of skeletonization to the trigger. It's a very basic straight pullback trigger, and a really cool safety feature about this firearm, and I think some other 1911s may have this little design to them as well. It will not fire without the magazine in, which that's kind of cool. Honestly, not a huge fan of that myself. I think that just comes from me liking revolvers a lot, because you can't lose the magazine out of a revolver, right? So I'm not a huge fan of that, but it is kind of cool. So it locks back on the last round, which is really nice. And the slide release, I was kind of not a huge fan of it at first, but I love it now. It's so smooth. You just got to be a man about it. So it is so smooth. I love it. And it does take some getting used to. So safety's off. Nothing's in the chamber. So we're going to work on that trigger pull. So let's see. You got about 1 millimeter or 2 of take up. It's not even, like, you can just barely tell. It's almost nothing. And then we hit a wall. So at that wall, after you pull in the take up, let's see. That's it. You hit that wall, and as soon as you break that wall, the hammer falls. So we're looking at earlier today when I shot it. It was probably, it felt more like when there was actually a round in the chamber, it felt more like a 5-pound pull, but that just may have been because it was really cold outside. Right now, if I were to just take a guess, I'd say that's probably more like a 4-pound pull, maybe 3.5 to 4-pound pull. It's not heavy. It's not like trying to pull the trigger on like a big rifle or something. Yeah, it's super simple. It's super. I keep saying super. It's really no pun intended. But it's really nice. It's really smooth, and you think for let's see, it's 2019. This was produced in 1953, so if my math serves me, that's 50, 60. That's 66 years. So this firearm is 66 years old, and it feels fantastic. It really does. So everything about it. The only thing that's kind of not really seized up, I feel like that word is a little harsh, but just kind of stiff, is the safety, which I guess that's kind of a good thing. I think it probably hasn't been used very much in its life, and so the safety is. We have been using it a good bit today. It seems to have loosened up a lot now that I play with it, but it was a lot easier to come off than it was to come on. So when you're engaging the safety to make the firearm safe, it feels fine. But when you disconnect the safety to make it fire, it comes off super simple. Which that may be something. That's probably a good thing. That's probably something you would want. Let's see. Like I said, but the hammer is a dual stage. So there's your first stage, and then there you go, 2-stage, and then there you go. So that's an option. I don't know. I probably shouldn't be doing this considering the fact that I don't know. I don't know if it's safe to dry fire this firearm. I know a lot of hammer fire pistols you can, and there's some that you can't. I think that's more on the revolver side of things. I'm not 100% sure on this pistol, considering it's 66 years old. This pistol is almost 3 times as old as I am. So, it's super cool. I really do like it. I keep using the word super. I promise I'm not being punny here. It's not my fault that they called it the Model Super. So, like I said, don't know a whole lot about it. It did pop up and bite me earlier today. I actually cut my blood blister open, but it hit the back of my hand between my index finger and my thumb. I actually wanted to show that on camera, but I cut it open because it was getting annoying. So it did come back and bite me, but after I got used to holding it while shooting it, it was fine. And I will be uploading the shooting video after this video. I went and shot it today, and you guys would have seen the previous video where we built the target. That's why I wanted to get that video out and filmed, because I used that target to do the shooting review on this firearm. So, let's see, magazine release. It's not, that was something I was having trouble with when I was shooting it today, was the magazine release. Well, actually, it wasn't really even the magazine release. It was just the fact that I would release it, I would load it, holds 9 rounds, I would load it into the gun, and the magazine was, you really had to lay into it to get the magazine to stay in there, because I'm used to the Glock where you just touch it in there and it's good. This one, you really had to be a man about it. You had to put the magazine in there or it was going to fall out, and that happened to me and Nathan. So it's 9+1. I loaded 10 rounds in it a couple times. We went and shot it, and I guess that's a good transition to what this is chambered in. So I'll add in a section of the earlier video that I made today. I'll add that into this video where I compare the two. We all know what the 9mm Luger looks like. That is a bullet that we have all come to know and love, and almost every household you can think of probably has a 9mm in in the house somewhere. This is chambered in 9mm Largo. And the only difference is the regular 9mm Luger that we all know is 9x19. So it's 9mm wide and 19mm tall. The 9mm Largo, is 9mm wide and 23mm tall. So it's a 9x23. This right here is the 9mm Luger that we all come to know and love, that we're all familiar with. This is a 9mm Largo that firearm shoots, and you can tell it's pretty much the same round, except this one, the Largo, is a little taller. It was used by the Spanish military, and it even tells you that here on the barrel, which is, well, it doesn't say 9x23, but it says 9mm Largo. And those are not exactly easy to find, but once again, thank you, David. He sent me 50 rounds to put through it, which was really nice, and we shot every single one of them, and it was fun. We had a great time. So as far as shooting it goes, when I would line up the sights, I can't really say anything about it. They were dead on. There's a section of the video that you'll see after this video where I'm talking about when I'm shooting it, and when I would line the sights up, I would do my equal height, equal light, and it was perfect. Like, it shot exactly as you would expect, which is really great considering that this was for the Spanish military. So, I can imagine that a soldier would get this firearm, and it's quite heavy too. Like, I didn't even talk about the weight. It's a heavy pistol, but it feels good to hold, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like a Glock where you pick it up and you're just like, oh yeah, it's a Glock. Everyone knows what a Glock feels like, and you pick this up and it's good. The weight just, I don't know, it just gives you a sense of confidence. I really like the way it feels in the hand.
Heavy is good. Heavy is reliable. If it doesn't work, you can always hit him with it.
And David actually put some new grips on this thing before he sent it to me, which was super nice. So I really, and it just feels really good in the hand. The ergonomics of it are fantastic. They really made this thing feel good, and I feel like it would feel good in anyone's hands, is what I'm getting at. Like, if you mass produce these to give it to an army or a military squad of any size, like, you think you got to make a gun that's going to be comfortable for all shapes and sizes of men and women, then it's good. It's really good, and I've got fairly large hands too, and that's why I wanted my friends to shoot it too, because they have slightly smaller hands, and they were able to shoot it extremely well. So just having a gun that you can issue to people and it be easy for them to handle and shoot, like, I mean, that's what you would want, So it's I mean, I can't. There's nothing really negative about it. The only things that I didn't like were and this was just me not being used to it, I'm sure, was the magazine being kind of hard to get into the well, and it coming back and biting me. That was my own fault. So when I got that blood blister, but I mean, the only thing that I'm upset about is that I wasn't able to draw because I don't have a holster for it. So I need to get me kind of a universal holster so that way I can actually practice with stuff like that from a fighting perspective. So I'm not real sure what else to say about it. I wish I knew as much about this as I did about the Glock 19. I really do, because I know this video is going to be a little bit shorter than my others, but I really do like it. I wish I could tell you what the barrel was made of and what type of metal they used. I'm sure it's just some sort of steel, and I wish I could just give you exact measurements and stuff like that. But it's a really nice firearm at the end of the day. You wouldn't be disappointed if you were going to go out and try and find yourself one. So it's got really nice serrations on the back. It's actually part of the metal frame, which is really nice. They actually had to cut that in. It's not like you can take the back strap off like on a Glock. The only thing that you can change out is really the grips. I mean, they really made this thing just an all-in-one package. I mean, there's nothing you can really change on it. You might be able to put a different trigger in, but like I said earlier, that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to take it apart. It's because if I were to break something, it's a 66-year-old firearm. So, but the grips being able to be changed out, I mean, that's about all the customization you need on something like this. It was a military issue, so to speak. So, I'm not going to pretend to know more than I do know. So I think I'm going to cut this video off here, you guys. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed having it and playing with it and showing it to people and shooting it. And you guys will see the shooting video in the next episode. So I'm not going to embarrass myself with trying to just keep talking and telling you guys things about it. So if you want to know more, there's plenty of information out there. I did a whole lot of reading on it, and I'm sure I forgot a lot of stuff. But as far as my opinion and my review of it, I'd own one, 100%. For what they are, I mean, they're super accurate, and their design, like, if this was just out in the wild, if you just saw this on someone's hip, you think, oh yeah, it's a 1911. Because, I mean, that's essentially what it is. And, the quality of it, you may think, there may be people out there that think less of something that was built in a different country. If it's not, American made, it's not good. That's not true. That's not true at all. It's built to the same quality standard as any decent firearm. So, it was a joy to shoot. So, yeah, that's where I think that's where I'm just going to leave it. So, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And like I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I really do appreciate that. And once again, thank you, David, for allowing me to borrow your gun. I know that's kind of a big thing. I'd have a hard time letting someone borrow mine. So I really do appreciate everything you did for me, and I hope that you especially enjoyed the video. So to everyone else, thank you so much for giving it a watch, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all take it easy.
Hey man.
Hey.
What are you doing?
I'm making a video.
You're making one right now.
I'm filming one right now.